Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to part 34 of the 30 Grandchildren Badge attempt. Daryl and Delores are still in Isla Paradiso. I think their romance is just about ready to take the next step. They've just had a roller coaster ride on the roller coaster at the Blue Fun Park. Daryl's headed off somewhere, I don't know where. Delores has decided to sit up the top and read on her tablet. I think they should be dancing because that's why I've brought them here. We always have a traditional slow dance at the dance floor upstairs, and that's where Daryl is going now. He's turned around and Delores is already there waiting for him. They already know each other very well and they're happy and comfortable together in each other's company. So now all they need is a little slow dancing so Daryl can get his courage up to ask her the big question and for her to make up her mind what she's going to say when he does ask her the question. At the moment, she's asking him to do some slow dancing, and I chose her to ask him because that's the only way I can get them to dance in the traditional manner, with her doing the female part and him doing the male part.
Fazooey.
Blocko flows it. Shavrush Meps.
Togsum Zelenui? Trivu?
Oh, Yanu Flamibsies.
Flo.
Blocko.
Staguka.
Glass.
Dudes.
Now this couple are being super cautious, and they've decided before they make any big decisions, they really need to consult the love machine. And that is where Delores is heading right now, and Daryl not far behind her. So they put in their money and they pull the lever, and what does Love Machine have to say to them? Love Inspector gives them the following message. Hot stuff. Please do not kiss near Love Inspector. Love Inspector was constructed from cheap, highly flammable materials. The message was a little bit confusing. They weren't sure whether that was good or bad for their long-term futures together. So off they went to wish for happiness at the wishing well. Delores had her go first, but she didn't get any success. She lost her money.
Ollie darn.
Daryl wanted to have a go next, but Delores decided, well, she'd have another go first. Maybe she'll have better luck on her second attempt. Oh, look, she did. She's got her happiness. So she now feels much better about the whole situation. She's got to tell Daryl all about it. Oh, time for a dip kiss. Daryl's so happy that she got her happiness when she wished for it, even if he hasn't made his wish yet. He decided that the time was right. He'd hop down on one knee and ask her the big question that had been on his mind for some time now. And Delores She'd been hoping for this moment for absolutely ages. Looks like she's getting her wish for happiness double time, because not only did the wishing well grant her happiness, but so did Daryl. So now all that's left for them to do is go home and have a big family wedding that they had hoped for. But first, there's some more things they want to do in Isla Paradiso before they head off back to Cake Island.
Igni Dutch.
Daryl didn't forget about his desire to wish for happiness at the wishing well, but now it didn't really matter what the wishing well gave him because he was happy already. She'd said yes. But he was still anxious to see if the wishing well would give him happiness. And he got success, but he got gold happiness. While Daryl had been wishing at the wishing well, the sun had come up and Delores had gone up to the dancing floor. There was a huge stringed instrument up there that she'd wanted to have a go at playing. So she'd gone up there and she got right into it. But I had to tell her to go with Daryl. If she really wanted to learn to play that instrument, she could learn it at home by buying one and having it at home with her. But they only had a short time left in Isla Paradiso, so they might as well go off together and see what they can find. And they headed off to another roller coaster because they thought they might as well ride all of the roller coasters in town while they were still here, because there were no roller coasters back home in Cake Island. When they got there, they climbed the spiral staircase all of the way to the top of the tall building. There were 2 buildings on this lot, and at the top of this building they found a roller coaster, but they saw through the windows as they were going up, and there's a showtime floor there where there's performances and there's a games room down below it. But here they are getting onto the roller coaster, and we will see them enjoy their ride. The roller coaster ride on this lot is a lot shorter than the ride on the Blue Waters roller coaster that they'd been on the previous day. The Blue Waters roller coaster takes a whole hour to get around, whereas this one is probably less than half of that time. And then their ride was over and it's time to do some exploring to see what they can find. Finally, Daryl managed to get Delores to agree to go up to that bridge above the gate, and there was a keg. And Delores decided that she was going to be very strong and hold Daryl up while he did a keg stand. What fun. Unfortunately, she dropped him. Oh dear. I think he's got a bit of a headache. Not very happy with his Delores now. I do hope it doesn't affect their engagement. Let's go look at the love machine and see what they can find. Hopefully it'll be a positive message for them. It was another ambiguous message. Love Inspector said, passionate. Love Inspector declares that error 27, passion senses overload. I was hoping the passion wasn't Daryl feeling so angry and upset and hurt by the fact that she had dropped him, literally. Or maybe it was Delores feeling shame that she hadn't been strong enough to hang on to him. I hope it doesn't lead to them splitting up. But they've gone downstairs to the building where the roller coaster is on top of, and they're having a competition with the netball machine. It actually keeps score, and there is going to be a winner. If they play games in this room for a while, they might cool down their negative passions, if there are any negative passions, and just get on with their lives. There's a few machines in here that they're going to play in. Might as well hang around a bit and see them have some fun. Maybe it'll cool their passion down a little bit. Although those balls are burning hot at times, aren't they? It's producing flames. Looks like Daryl's scores 11 and Delores only got 5, so he won. That should make him feel a bit better after she dropped him. They moved on to the next machine in line, which is Super Ski Ball. This one isn't competitive, they're just having fun, throwing the ball to see how they go. So they'll play that for a while and then they'll move on to something else. Their passion should be cooling by now. They'll have soon forgotten about Daryl being dropped when he was trying to do a keg stand. So Daryl's had enough. He's decided he's going to move on to the next little bit of entertainment. Delores will join him shortly. They're going to sit down here and have a video game. Wonder if there's a competition going with this one as well. They do seem to be enjoying it.
Kenny's.
That looks like a dartboard on the wall behind them. At least it's behind Delores. Daryl can see it from where he's sitting. Maybe they'll have a go at playing darts next. I think they're having a bit too much fun here at the moment. Oh, so it's Delores who's going to decide to go and play darts. She must have noticed that darts board before she sat down to play that video game with Daryl. There's a carousel outside as well. Maybe they'll go for a ride on that next. Or maybe they'll just go get something to eat. There's a few places here where they can get food. It looks like they've decided to ignore their hunger and just keep playing darts. Daryl wandered off outside for a minute, but he soon was back, watching carefully to see what Delores did with her darts. I think it's about time for Daryl to have a go, see if he can win this as well. And once they've had a nice little game, they're going to go swimming with the mermaids. Some more diving. Oh, is he happy? He must have got a bullseye or something, I think, from that reaction. Or maybe he was sad. It was certainly a reaction to something.
Zuby. Who got to break now? Ye Vambu.
Splart!
Horsano Bazoo!
I think we've seen enough darts. It's time to take a little leap ahead in that timeline. Just leave them here and we'll catch up with them when they go underwater, the scuba diving with the mermaids. This time the mermaids have got their tails. So we will see them in their full glory.
Skibble.
Yaranka.
At the end of a day spent enjoying the pleasures to be found at the Carnival on the water, they went diving at night, scuba diving, and they came across a mermaid they hadn't seen before. It was Triton King. And he already had his tail and scales because I suspect I may have given them to him when another couple was having their vacation in Isla Paradiso. I think that would have been Dennis and Alicia. Daryl and Delores were keen to get to know Triton King. He was another new mermaid to them. And with every mermaid they came across, they were hoping that they might be given the directions to Mermaid Island. But of course, it hasn't happened yet. They chatted to Triton King about things like seashells and fish and sharks. They'd soon exhausted all conversation, and then it was time to go have a sleep. They went back to the houseboat, which was just up above. They're at the same dive lot where they've got the houseboat parked. So they didn't have far to go home. They had a sleep, and the next day we will see Daryl running around on the beach looking for shells. As they were leaving, Daryl spotted a treasure chest, so he stopped and he opened it and he found some treasure. He was very surprised he was able to get it open. Those extra simoleons will come in very handy when they're setting up their home together. The next morning, Daryl left early to see if he could find some seashells, and then he spotted a message in a bottle, which of course he collected. He'd be able to sell that and get some extra money for setting up their home. And while he was out, he came across a beach with wild horses on it, and he picked up another seashell while he was there. He didn't know the horses were on the beach. He watched them for a while. He was starting to get a bit hot, so he decided that he'd take one last scuba dive before they headed home. And when he was diving, he came across a mermaid. This time it was Maya Ocean. Last time he'd seen Maya Ocean, she'd had bare legs, and he had watched while we gave her some scales, and then she swam around with scaly legs. But now she's been out of the water for a while. When she got back in, she had her tail. He hadn't seen her with her tail before, so he quickly headed over towards her to have a chat. And you never know, she might take him to Mermaid Island. I don't think she will. She's a shy mermaid. She doesn't like to talk to people very much. They chatted happily together for a while, getting to know each other better and improving their relationship. They're not friends yet, but they're getting there. Then they went their separate ways, and Daryl decided to head up to the beach. He had collecting more seashells on his mind. He was thinking this is his last day in a place where he can collect shells. When he got to the surface, it turned out that Maya Ocean had decided to head for the same beach. What a coincidence. So Daryl quickly followed her in there, and he stood on the sand, and they continued their conversation out of the water. This was a real treat for Daryl. He'd never expected he'd see or hear from this lovely mermaid ever again, and here she was, looking straight at him, while he waited for her to arrive on dry land. He still had half a chance to get that hidden island from her, if only he could convince her that he was a good bloke and worthy of owning an island in her world. So they stood and they chatted about children and family, and they exchanged information such as their star signs and all sorts of other things. But eventually, it was time for him to go. He needed to go and find what Delores was up to. He'd agreed to meet her at the festival grounds after he'd finished his swim. And Delores was at the festival grounds, waiting patiently for Daryl. She'd been doing a bit of roller skating while she wondered what he was up to. He was gone for such a long time that she was beginning to wonder that maybe he'd been eaten by a shark. She hoped not. She went to pick some flowers to calm herself down a bit. It sort of worked, especially when she had a good deep sniff of each flower as she picked it. Where is Daryl? What's he doing? Is he okay? Did a shark eat him? Did he drown? It's all a worry. Unfortunately, time had gotten away from Daryl. He had stayed chatting with Maya Ocean a lot longer than he had planned or expected or even thought possible, and by the time he got back to the main island, it was dark. He was a bit worried about the reception he was going to get from Delores, so he thought he'd go and have a think about it, and he found a little fishing hole not far from the festival grounds. It was called Fortunate Fishing. It was a fortunate name for an unfortunate chap. At least he thought he was being unfortunate because he was sure Delores was going to kill him. But then he saw a unicorn. It was a black unicorn. And he thought maybe he can befriend the unicorn and add it to their household and take it back with them to Cake Island. He's never seen a unicorn in Cake Island. He doesn't think there are any. So he called Delores to have a chat to her to come and see the unicorn and decide, will we try to take it back with us or will we leave it here where it belongs? So he sat on the seat and pondered the situation, and eventually Delores got over the shock and the anger of how could he keep her waiting all day without letting him know where he was or what he was doing or even that he was still alive. And the relief that he was still alive and he still wanted to talk to her. So she headed over to the Fortunate Fishing Hole to see exactly what Daryl was on about with this unicorn thing. She was feeling quite emotional about the whole situation, but she called a cab and headed over to that Fortunate Fishing Hole just to see what was going on. And here she is, and there is a unicorn. She was so surprised to see there really was one. She's found Daryl sitting on his seat, and she went over and inspected the unicorn. She thought it was about the dumbest idea she'd ever heard. Where did he think he was going to keep the thing? And they were going to have a big family shortly. How was he going to find the time to look after it? Because she certainly wasn't going to have time to look after it, and it would need a lot of looking after. Might be fun for the children to have a unicorn, but that'd be a long time before they were old enough to be able to benefit from it being around. But she didn't want to upset or disappoint him, so she stood there and looked. And then the vacation was over and they were thrown back home, travelling quickly back home to Cake Island, where there were no unicorns. Maybe later in life, if Daryl still wants to get a unicorn when the children are older and able to help with looking after it, then maybe they could get a unicorn. On arrival back in Cake Island, they drove Sharonda's Twizzy all the way back to the house from where they first arrived on the island. And have to remember to make sure Sharonda keeps that Twizzy when they move to their own home after they get married. The next thing they have planned is a wedding. While everybody was supposed to be getting ready for the wedding, the groom and his youngest brother-in-law-to-be decided to have a pillow fight. Yes, that's Wilfred and Daryl getting to know each other, becoming best friends, I suppose, eventually. Unfortunately, Daryl is going to be moving out of the house after today, because today is his wedding day. His bride and her sisters and mother are all getting ready to go to the venue to have the ceremony. Daryl has got to go now, or he will get into big trouble for keeping them all waiting. Delores had always wanted to big family wedding. She's invited all of her siblings, both of her parents, even though she hardly knows her father's new wife, as well as the spouses of her married siblings, and all of the imaginary friends that have been made real. Most of them have already moved out of the house, and some of them are married, so their spouses are going to be there as well. It is going to be a huge gathering. Daryl would have preferred something more quiet, like just the two of them having a private wedding, but he went along with her wishes. They invited everybody, and we had Dave there as well, who was Daryl's special friend, who was going to be the next groom to marry one of Dolores' sisters. It'll be the next wedding, Dave and Demetria. But here we go, Daryl and Dolores are under the arches, exchanging their wedding vows, while everybody looks on. There's the ring. Dolores has given Daryl his ring, and now he's giving her a ring to her. And there's the hearts. So they're married. How exciting. Yes, some of the imaginary friends have got spouses who are not related to the household, and they've turned up as well. There's a lot of Sims here at this wedding. The next thing they're going to do is get photos taken for the wedding to remember. So they'll be going out into the garden to get photos. While the photos are being taken, the rest of the guests are going to go upstairs to the reception where they can get something to eat and get out of the heat. Here we go. First of all, we have a photo of the bride and groom looking very serious. Then it's the bride with her parents. When you look at Tony's face, you can see where a lot of them got their looks from. Then the group moved to stand in front of the steps in front of the venue, and this group includes the bride and groom with the bride's parents. The groom's parents aren't at the wedding. We didn't make any parents for Daryl. Poor Daryl. But he does have his buddy Dave here somewhere. The final group photo for the day was bride and groom with Tony and Jerry, the bride's parents, and 8 of Dolores' siblings, representing about half of the children that Tony and Jerry had together. Tony has since remarried and had another baby boy who is a half-brother for the whole 15 of the children that he had with Jerry. They were all instant babies born on the same day. Neither Tony nor Jerry had any say in the matter. It just happened. What a surprise. And Jerry had the responsibility of bringing them up alone. And now it's time to go and cut the cake. There's a huge crowd up here in the reception room. If you've been watching all of the episodes, you'll recognise all but about maybe 4 or 5 of the Sims in this room, because they've mostly all come through the main household, either as children of Jerry and Tony, or as the imaginary friends made real, or as Sims who have married the children of Jerry and Tony. And then there's Dave, who's there, the blonde in the grey suit that just walked out of sight. He is Daryl's mate that came from the Great Southern Land with Daryl, and he's going to be the next groom. He's going to marry Demetria, Dolores' younger sister. So everybody's getting their slice of cake. I've had them on no autonomy, but I've just put them back to have full, complete, free autonomy. There's too many of them there wanting to go to the toilet for me to handle, and I don't want puddles all over the floor. So we will leave them in this venue. This is the end of the video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. In the next episode, we will move Dolores and Daryl into their own home, which will be next door to Wilfred and Wendy. I'll have to move Ben out to another house around town somewhere. Here's the imaginary friend who moved in there all by himself without my permission. And there's 3 imaginary friends still needing to be made real, so we'll probably make at least 2, possibly 3, possibly all 3 of them real in the next episode. and then we'll start working on getting Dave and Demetria to become a couple and married. So we'll stay busy for quite a few more episodes, I think. These Sims really needed to be made free will again so they can look after their needs. Aha, there's that genie. She seems to have behaved herself this episode. I know it's taken me ages to make it, but I've been very busy and I've made other things as well in the meantime. Making this wedding has been quite an experience, but we finally got something to show you. I wanted to get them all together. And if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. It'll help with YouTube. They will promote it to other people to watch. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching and happy simming. We'll see you in the next video.